And basically, I would expect him to probably switch into the Alolan Sandslash at some point maybe to try and save that Garchomp in the back for the Metagross. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we do upload daily PvP content, so please consider subscribing to the channel if you're into that type of content. And if you're a returning subscriber like Chris Yim, thank you for your support. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a team on PVPOKE. As you can see, that is all A's across the board. That team consists of Gyarados, Metagross, and Snorlax. Now, there's no particular order in which you would use this team. I mean, you could use all three as elite technically, but as you can see here, it's coverage A, bulk A, safety A, consistency A, and its threat score, I believe, is 581. As you can see here, has pretty good matches against most of the meta. Does struggle a little bit against Milotic and Rhyperior, but those aren't too common anyways. At least not so far in these practice battles, but once GBL starts, we'll see how the meta sort of shifts. And let's get into this first match. I am leading with Gyarados in this first match. We'll test each of them in the lead spot here. So Gyarados against Metagross in the first matchup. Obviously, non-effective Dragon Breath, non-effective Bullet Punch. So it's a pretty close match, but Crunch is super effective. Also important to note here is that Gyarados will win in the 2-shield match. And I believe the 1-shield match comes down to IVs, but I think it goes to Metagross most of the time. So let's see how this plays out. Opponent is going to go for Meteor Mash. And as you can see here, after the opponent does the charge move, I don't know if this is only happening to me or if it's like a recent thing, but what I've been realizing is that there's like a delay in being able to click your fast move once a charge move has been thrown either by you or the opponent. So here I go for the Crunch, and obviously it was a CMP tie, so I didn't necessarily want to click the Crunch, but it happened to be that we did, so we end up kind of wasting the energy there. He brings in Tangrowth. And let's see if we get to one more Crunch. We're not able to, so I'm actually going to let this go down. And I'm not going to shield here because Metagross has such a good matchup against Tangrowth that it's not necessarily a bad idea to let the Gyarados go down there and lose that energy. Because Metagross will come in and pretty much just wall this Tangrowth for the most part. So as you can see here, Tangrowth is deciding to stay in. And Tangrowth is a pretty spicy pick. Grass type. I think it's probably the highest ranked grass type in Premier Cup. So he actually switches out into Gyarados. So this isn't the greatest matchup, but what I want to do here is try to burn a shield maybe at least, and then switch out of this matchup so that I have the Metagross available for that Tangrowth in the back. And as you can see there, I wasn't able to register the fast moves right after that charge attack. So not sure if that's like a new thing that's happened recently in the game or if it's just happening to me, but if it is a new thing, I don't really know how good of an idea that is. So let's see here. I go for another Meteor Mash here, and I would expect to switch out very soon. Yeah, so we bring up the switch tray here, and as you can see, it does lag, not lag it, but it doesn't do any charge fast moves while you're clicking there after the charge moves, which is really annoying. So, and that happened in every match. I thought maybe it might have been lag, so I actually restarted my game after this, but it continued in the following matches. So Tangrowth comes back in here, and at this point we're looking pretty good because we're going to get rid of the shield, of course. Body Slam is going to come through here. Let's see if the Tangrowth chooses to burn that shield now or save it for the Metagross. It does choose to burn it. Body Slam at this range is going to do a lot of damage, and I don't believe the Tangrowth is going to be able to KO the Snorlax here with a Power Whip, most likely. No. We're gonna get this Body Slam off. This should be very close to KOing, if not knocking out the Tangrowth right here. So let's see how this plays out. Body Slam, and we should be able to let down. Nope, the Power Whip's gonna come through. I'm not even sure if this will KO, to be honest. This will probably leave Snorlax right with like 1 HP or 2. It does not. Oh, it looked like an undercharge there maybe. We switch into Metagross to farm out the Bullet Punch, and we're going to take that first game there. So GG's. And I'm going to head into the second match here where we're going to test out Metagross in the lead instead. Going to face an Alolan Sandslash. So this is a pretty good matchup for us, but of course we do have to be aware of that Bulldoze threat from Sandslash. So opponent actually switches out into Snorlax. I'm going to throw off one Meteor Mash here. And then I would expect to switch into Gyarados. And the main reason I would switch into Gyarados here instead of my own Snorlax is because I know that this opposing Snorlax has superpower. And obviously Body Slam is the... Well, superpower is going to do more damage, but there's going to be a lot of Body Slam bait. But if they choose to just go straight superpower first or hit me with superpower after. Against the Snorlax with superpower, basically, it isn't the most favorable matchup, so that's why I chose to bring in the Gyarados instead. And we are going to get the crunch here. And if you guys pay attention to after every charge was thrown and you just look at my Pokemon, you'll see that it does not attack right away. So here the Pokemon faints obviously is a little bit different, but let's see if we could pinpoint this in another situation here. So here I would expect my Gyarados to faint, so it's not going to matter again. And Ice Punch is going to come through. This should knock out the Gyarados. It does. So at this point I'm going to bring in the Metagross again. And Metagross is going to come back in. And we still have 2 shields, so at this point definitely have to be aware of the Bulldoze. So I am going to shield this, of course. It is a Bulldoze and that's super effective. That would do a lot of damage to the Metagross. Over farming a little bit, gonna go for this Meteor Mash. Let's see if we get the shield from the Sand Slash. It does have 2 shields, so I'd probably expect the shield here just to get to one more Bulldoze. Switches out, so he's saving that shield. And we bring in Snorlax into Garchomp. So this is actually a pretty tough spot for us because Garchomp is going to have a really good match against the Metagross. And against Snorlax, it should have a pretty good match too. As you see here, I let the Outrage go through and it does about 50% of our health. So this is looking really bad for us. And honestly, it does look like the Garchomp is going to end up winning this game for the opposing trainer. So I'm going to go for the Earthquake here. Probably a bad idea, but... didn't think he would use the shield there, so he actually did use it, and that's going to put us in an even worse spot now. So here, what I'm going to do is actually decide to use the shield and go for a Body Slam and try to switch that clock out. And basically, I would expect him to probably switch into the Alolan Sand Slash at some point maybe to try and save that Garchomp in the back for the Metagross. So as you see there, I was aware that he was going to switch, so we had to switch to right, and as soon as he switched into Alolan Sand Slash, I bring in the Metagross here, and this is actually going to give us the upper hand now, because now he's going to have to waste energy onto this Metagross, and our Snorlax does have energy, should be able to get to a Body Slam first, which is actually going to be able to win us the game, I believe. They're probably very close to an Outrage here, but I think we did just enough to end up pulling out this game. One more lick. As you can see, we do get the lick and we're going to end up taking that game. So a very close game, and we were in a really tough spot, but we managed to work our way out of it just by being aware of what the win condition was. And we ended up taking that game. So next match here, Gyarados into Glaceon. So back to the Gyarados lead. And opponent's going to switch out into Electivire. I'm not entirely sure I would have switched out of that matchup. I think Glaceon does beat Gyarados, so I would have definitely have stayed in that match because what you've done here is given up switch advantage. Part of that switch advantage could be because he knows I don't really have any like direct counter to Electivire. Like obviously Wild Charge is still going to hurt either Snorlax or Metagross, and at this point the opponent knows what team I'm running. I'm going to probably let this go through, just let the Gyarados go down. Wild Charge is going to come through. It's not that I thought it was going to be an Ice Beam. I had a feeling it was going to be Wild Charge, but I just did not want to shield it there. So at this point, I'm going to actually bring in the Snorlax here. And let's see if we could actually commit to a very aggressive farm down here and store a lot of energy on the Snorlax. Because Snorlax is super tanky, so you know it could definitely take a Wild Charge. And this Electivire's defense is going down. I think at this point I would have probably switched out of the Electivire just to reset the debuff and not let it get farmed down. So their own Snorlax comes in, and at this range we are almost pretty much in superpower range. So what we want to do is just get off as many Body Slams as we can before we faint, because we're then going to need the Metagross. And remember, he has Glaceon in the back, so Metagross is actually going to do really well against that. And for that reason, I think I would have probably brought in the Glaceon instead on his part, just because of how poor the matchup is with Metagross in the back. Assuming, like, I'm pretty sure he knows that I'm running the same 3 at this point. But if he didn't, then I guess that could be a reason why I brought in Snorlax. But if he is aware that I'm using Metagross to their Pokemon, he should definitely have brought in the Glaceon here and saved the Snorlax for the Metagross in the back, because that would have given him a better chance of winning this. Because now I bring in the Metagross, he can't really switch into the Glaceon, right? Unless he wants to like sack it. So he's put himself in a kind of tricky spot here. Even if he goes for Superpower, which I figured he would, I'm just going to use the shield there. And now both his defense and attack are lowered, so the second Superpower is not going to do anywhere near as much damage. And the Snorlax is pretty much in farm down range. So at this point I would definitely switch out the Snorlax. But like, even when you do, like, you at the same time you can't really switch out because it's going to get hit by a Meteor Mash, so it's a really bad spot. And Glaceon is going to choose to shield. But honestly, even in this range, I don't think Avalanche is going to KO. So if it does KO here, then that was a good play, but I don't think this is going to KO. It doesn't, and we're actually going to get to the Meteor Mash, which is going to KO the Glaceon. And I think at this point, if my switch timer is up, I should switch into Snorlax because I do not want to get farmed down by their own Snorlax. So I do switch because, yeah, getting farmed down there by their own Snorlax would have allowed them to have energy to throw at my Metagross as soon as it comes back in. So we had to switch out the Metagross matchup there into our own Snorlax to prevent that from happening. And we beat it to the charge move to end up winning that game. So as you can see there, another situation in which it was not looking very good for us, but we managed to be aware of what we needed to do to come back to win that game and managed to pull it off. So Snorlax here against Gyarados, and Snorlax in the lead this time. So now we've tested all 3 Pokemon in lead, and let's see how Snorlax performs. Snorlax versus Gyarados. I haven't done the simulations on this. I believe Gyarados probably wins this, but I don't know, it looks pretty close. So let's see. This might be a Hydro Pump, to be honest. That was a lot of energy, so I'm going to shield this in case it is a Hydro Pump, because Hydro Pump's going to do a lot. It ends up being a Crunch. So we get to another Body Slam here. And if they get to another Crunch, we should get to one more Body Slam, which I think would give this matchup actually to Snorlax. But he did choose to burn a shield. So I think the more shields that are used in this match, the more favorable it becomes for Gyarados possibly. Because Dragon Breath is just so OP. So Body Slam comes through, he chooses not to shield that. And at this point, I think we are in Crunch range. Maybe not, we could probably survive it, to be honest. I am going to use the shield, but I think we could probably survive this and farm down with Lick. Would be really close though, because he might have been able to farm down Dragon Breath. So I just wanted to ensure that I won switch advantage there. I felt that was more important in this particular matchup. So I am down a shield, but we do have switch advantage. And he's going to bring in Metagross. And let's see if we can get to this Earthquake. We do get to the Earthquake. Let's see if he's going to burn a shield here, or if he thinks this is going to be Body Slam, or if he thinks I have Superpower or something else. He lets it go through, and oh my gosh, do you see how much damage a Earthquake does to... We almost were able to farm down with Lick without him getting off a Meteor Mash. That is crazy. So now he has to waste his energy. Oh wow, and he undercharged. He undercharged. Oh my gosh. So he actually undercharged and let the Snorlax lick it down. And Tangrowth comes in, and this game's pretty much over now, because there's nothing that this Tangrowth is going to be able to do against Metagross and Gyarados in the back. So Gyarados lead, Snorlax lead took out 2 Pokemon basically, including a Metagross, because it got off that Earthquake. And at this point, this game is over. The Tangrowth can't beat the Metagross, let alone the Metagross and the Gyarados. So shields are down, and obviously Power Whip is going to do nothing. I believe it has Rock Slide as its rock move, which would do nothing as well. I think it also has access to Ancient Power, so there is that like boost potential that you could fish for, but Rock Slide is definitely the better move in terms of raw damage. So the Tangrowth goes down. That was a pretty dominant win there. And we did play 5 matches, so we were doing a best of 5. At this point, it is 4 wins to 0. And of course, he's running very spicy picks, as you can see, Sandslash, Tangrowth. He's testing teams out himself. I'm using pretty much a quadruple A team on PVPOKE. So there's no surprise that this team is playing so dominantly. And obviously, if we were facing some more more meta Pokemon on his side, it might have been a lot closer. But, you know, running Alolan Sandslash, he's just trying a lot of things out. Sandslash, Tangrowth. I think there's probably some other spicy picks in there. Obviously, Garchomp is very meta. Snorlax is meta. Metagross is meta. So he does have some meta picks in there too. But definitely testing out some spice with the Tangrowth and the Sandslash. And here we're going to go for the Meteor Mash. As you saw, I actually let the Bulldoze go through there the first time. And it did about 60-70% damage, so it does a lot. But Metagross can tank it, of course. But we are definitely going to shield this second one. And we should be able to beat it to the Meteor Mash here. So he is going to switch out because he has no shields. Brings in the Garchomp, and I'm going to bring in the Gyarados here. And Gyarados versus Garchomp is a very good matchup for Gyarados because that Dragon Breath damage just does so much. So I'm actually going to let this go through because I'm trying to test out how much damage it does. As you can see, Outrage does a lot. And here is what I'm talking about. I can't tell if it's lag or if it's some new input in the game, but it just does not let you use your fast move as soon as the charge move is thrown. It waits for like a second before it allows you to start hitting the moves again. As you can see, that happened for both of us. He also had it happen to him, and I had it happen to me there on that particular one. So it might be something that everybody's experiencing right now. Maybe it's a new addition to the game. I don't know, but I don't really like it so far. We'll see if it has any effect. But here I'm farming for the Hydro Pump. This is super risky, and we do get to it right at the end. So this is huge for us because we could have went down there with a lot of lost energy, but the Hydro Pump comes through, does so much damage. And we could have got a Crunch off, obviously, but you can see the difference the Hydro Pump makes. And even if we did faint down, we have a shield. So we were in a pretty good spot because we had the Metagross for the Alolan Sandslash in the back. But we have to remember he does have that the Bulldoze ready, I believe, on the Sandslash, he's very close to. So I know he's going to switch out soon here because he's going for another superpower. He's going to switch out into Alolan Sandslash. So I have the switch tray ready. I know it's coming. Farming up, there it is. Switch, we have it ready. Throw the Meteor Mash, not let him get off that Bulldoze. And this is going to KO the Sandslash. So a lot of times when opponents are using these moves like superpower, moves that debuff them, you have to be aware that they're going to switch out because they want to reset it, right? So always have that switch trait ready for that. And we end up taking this 5th match. And we end up going 5-0. So GG's there to Sir Stevens. Thank you for the battles. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.